Extreme happiness to be here in front of you all, to tell you all my story as a heart transplant recipient. I'd like to extend my thanks to Dr. Pritika Chari for ordering me to be here. She called me and told me, Kavya, you have to come on 9th, so you come, prepare a speech and talk in front of all. So I really loved her way of taking me as her own patient, as her own child, and calling me here. So thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting me, and Dr.Prem for introducing me to you all, great people, doctors, and everyone, for giving me motivation and being my guardian angel and my guide until now. So I have prepared a small PPT on my life. So it will be a bit difficult to see because the photos are from before and after. So please bear with me and listen to me ramble for a bit. So I'd also like to thank, in this stage I'd like to thank my donor and their family. I don't know who they are, but my heartfelt thanks to them at this moment. So let me start about how it all started, my story. So when I was 6 months old, I was diagnosed with a heart disease. So I had a hole in my heart, and from 6 months to 3 to 4 years of age, I was locally treated in my own place in Vellore. So after which the hospital there couldn't cope up with my degenerating organ, and that's when we had to search for someone else to take care of me. And that's when we met Dr. Prem. And Dr. Prem from the age of 5, from 2005 and until now, he has been taking care of me as his own child. And I'm really blessed to be his patient. Everyone would say that doctors are very fearful, but I'm always happy when I have to meet him. I'd always tell my parents that we want to meet Dr. Prem. Yes, I'm pretty happy. I'll always run and come because I have never had a fear of doctor because of you, sir. Thank you so much. So when I was 6 months old and until 3, and when I was 5 years old, I came to Dr. Prem, and that's when I had my open heart surgery. The hole in my heart was closed up. And after that, I was pretty okay for a few years or so. But when I turned 12 years old and as I grew up as like a normal child with the support of medications, my heart couldn't cope up with my growth, the normal body growth. And that's when my organs started failing. So when my organs started failing, and that's when I was 12 years old and in 6th standard, I had jaundice at that time. I was diagnosed with jaundice, but unfortunately it was an indication of my heart failing, and we didn't know at that point. So when I was 7th, when I was turning 13, I had a seizure. And when I was admitted in the hospital for having severe seizures, we recognized that my heart was severely failing. And by the time I was 13 and in 8th standard, I had my heart transplant. My heart was like severely had failed a lot. So where was I? So my heart had failed and I had my organ transplant in 2014. So it's been 9 years until now. And this was in 2008 with Dr. Prem, and I had my stem cell therapy in 2008, and it was the very first in India at that time. So it was a different kind at that point, and it made a difference in my life. But unfortunately, since it was not from birth stem cell, it did not work out very well, and I had to have a transplant. So choosing to be an organ donor. So this is my pre-transplant in July 2014. July was my birth month. And I must say that in 2014, until my 2014 my transplant, I forgot how to smile because my body degenerating and me not being able to live a normal life, I almost forgot how to smile. We say that unmayana siripillama pona tarunangal. I didn't even know until now recently when I started searching for my old photos to post in social media like every other kid, and that's when I saw I have forgotten how to smile. I told my parents, and they could only nod and see me. So later, so this was pre-transplant just before operation. You can see the difference then and now. So that's the extreme difference I can show to you about how just before transplant, how I was inhuman. People couldn't even recognize me as a human. I was only 24 kilos at that time. I still remember my parents telling me that my surgeon told that he didn't even have any flesh to cut through during the transplant. So that's how severe it was. Now I'm 46 years old. People say, don't tell your weight to anyone, but I'm proudly telling that I'm double the weight from my transplant. So next part comes 46, I'm so sorry. Not it. Please. It's okay, I'll take it as a compliment. I look young in 46. So in 2014, that's when my father, in dire straits, without knowing what to do, and in need of money, monetary help, and as well as blessings and prayers, he posted an FB post. FB in 2014 was the wrong social media, I understand, but he still wanted to tell his students, his teacher, that about his daughter who is suffering. He posted that my daughter is in the hospital, she needs an organ transplant. Please everyone pray for my daughter. And that's when one of my father's students, Yashwant Mohan Raj, I'd like to mention his name because he's my savior now. He called my father, asked him, "Sir, is this you? I didn't want to think that it would have been your daughter, but unfortunately it was me." And he's the one who introduced me to RJ Balaji Anna, and he came to me. He called my father, and my father was strict to him. You shouldn't talk to her about anything about her health. You should only talk with her jovially, you should only do that. There were severe instructions to him that he was so very afraid to even speak to me. But he came, we did a YouTube video. I think you may all recognize the name if I tell the name. RJ Balaji abuses Sachin. It was trending in YouTube for a few days, and I hope that it created a bit of awareness on organ transplantation. So many people searched about organ transplantation due to that video, and many called us, and I got an earlier transplant due to that also, I must say. This video was released just 2 weeks before my transplant. I got transplant in December, just 2 weeks in November. In the end of November, we shot this video and posted it. That's how powerful the well wishes and blessings of everyone is. So next, in that video, I had spoken about Venkatesh Bhatt sir and Raufa ma'am. I told them, I love Kitchen Superstar. I like how he cut the vegetables so fast. And he saw that video and came to meet me. He gave me lots, if you can see there, he gave me lots of books. He told me that you should be able to read this by sitting. My father told, so please pray that she should not complete these books before her transplant. And it truly happened. I couldn't even complete a single book before my transplant. And I read everything after transplant and after coming back home. So it's all truly his well wishes, blessings, and everyone. So, and then if I have to go on, next, there is so much. And in the YouTube video, if I have to say, reiterate, RJ Balaji would have said something about hatred and love. I'd like to rephrase that and tell you that there is so much of time we spend for hatred. But why not a tiny thought of love? We spread so much of negative comments and everything on internet for hatred, but we don't even say God bless on the internet. We don't even comment under anything. Please take a moment to read anyone's post. Just at least think about them. I really truly ask that those positive thoughts help everyone. And this is immediately post-transplant. You can see the vibrant difference actually. You can see my blood flowing and the normal skin tone rather than the ashy face I had. So this is how an organ transplant changes the life of an organ recipient. This is what have been trying to tell. This was actually 2 or 3 weeks, just 2 weeks after transplant, immediately after transplant in the ward. And finally my organs were getting the proper blood flow and it was properly functioning after a long time. It would have been such a relief for it. And when I was suggested for transplant, I must mention this, I was told that I must have heart and both lungs also must be transplanted because my the degenerating organ, my heart, was also affecting my lungs. But Dr. Prem told my surgeon, "You don't do touch her lungs. I will surely take care of it." He told them so firmly, and I was only transplanted with a heart. And he did what he absolutely did what he said, and both my lungs are very well, and I can walk, run, but I don't run. I can walk, run, do everything as a normal lung with normal lungs. So thank you, sir, for having so much of hope and so much of belief for saving my lungs too. So, this is currently, I showed you the previous when I was a small kid, and now just recently when he was seriously taking my heart rate, my father sneakily took a picture. This is always memorable because I will comparatively say, see how I was and how now I am. So this is the true example of, you all know Vivek sir, so I'll tell something of his dialogue. This is how empty is when I beata. I'm the true original OG example for the term, I say. So before transplant, I have to convince you to be an organ donor. I was not able to walk for even a minute. I was given walk test at the time, 2 minutes, only 2 minutes. And I thought it was a Himalayan task to even walk. I couldn't even walk from there to here. And now I can walk a kilometer, walk normally like everyone. And that's the change it's been. That's the change I'm giving you to make you an organ donor. So to be able to breathe normally, you have to say, people lie down flat actually without any problem. But I wouldn't be able to lie flat before transplant. I have to have elevated, and at one